My name is Tiara Tolson. I received my care at MedStar Georgetown University Hospital. I first received my transplant when I was almost 1 year old. I was born with a condition called biliary atresia. That transplant that I received was a half, which came from my mom. Once my mom gave me a piece of her liver, that lasted for 8 years up until I needed to receive my second transplant, which is when I received from Georgetown.
We first saw Tiara, back in 2008, I believe, when she was around 9 or 10 years of age. At that time, she had a failing liver transplant. She had received her first transplant as a baby for a condition referred to as biliary atresia. This is a form of infantile liver cirrhosis that even in this day and age, the cause of which really isn't known. But she received a liver transplant, a piece of which from her mom. This was a living donation, a piece of her mom's liver. What had befallen Tiara was that she acquired infectious mononucleosis. And of course, this is a very common infection that in healthy people is, although it may be uncomfortable, it's not life-threatening. But if one has received an organ transplant or is on chemotherapy or some other form of immune system compromise, can lead to a form of lymphatic cancer. And the ordinary approach to that condition is to reduce the immune suppressive medications to protect the liver transplant. And occasionally that can allow the immune system, as it fights off that virus, to go ahead and reject the liver transplant too. So that was the condition that Tiara was in. And her liver had held on for about 10 years or so, but eventually failed. And when we saw her, she had yellow jaundice and all the typical features of a failing liver, so she got a second liver.
My interest and passion for hair began when, of course, I was a little girl, and of course, as I was explaining, how did you manage your time being in the hospital? My parents and family used to just bring me mannequin doll heads, and I thought I was this big hairstylist, just doing all this stuff with all these products, and parents was just like, okay. And I am a business owner of 4 businesses. My goal was how can I make somebody else feel great?
Second transplants are generally much more difficult than the primary transplants, just because of a lot of the scar tissue that's built up. And generally, these patients are extremely ill at the time they need a second transplant. So it makes the surgery and the anesthesia and the postoperative care much more difficult than a primary transplant. Once the new liver is in, generally the patients do sort of on par as if they had a primary transplant. Unless there's other organ systems that have been injured, it could be done with a piece of a liver if it's really necessary, but generally we would like all cases, to get a full-size liver.
My care at MedStar Georgetown has been amazing. From the moment that I entered those doors as a kid up to the age that I am now, I'm 26. Georgetown has definitely been very supportive. They have been very uplifting, definitely changed my life for the better.
When young people begin to transition from being teenagers to living their lives independently as adults, then it's appropriate to, in effect, turn over their care to the adult liver team, which is exactly what happened with Tiara.
Given my firsthand experience of being a transplant patient for many years, I definitely feel as though it's in my calling to definitely be where I am today, explaining my story. It's all a lot of resources that can help, kind of change your perspective when negative or, when you're going through trials and tribulations do occur, because they do. And just having those resources to help pull you out of what you're thinking is the worst, when the best is yet to come, meaningless to say.